الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن نبينا وحبيبنا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. نشهد بأنه قد بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجعلها على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار، أعاذنا الله وإياكم منها. أما بعد، يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد, all praises and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We bear witness and testify and attest that there is no deity, no divinity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And we bear witness that our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam is indeed the last final seal of all prophets and messengers sent and chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sent to the whole universe, to all of mankind, all living and non-living things, with the message of peace and justice and tawheed, the message of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send His peace and blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, and upon his family, and upon his companions, and upon all the followers, and may Allah accept us and guide us to be among those followers. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamualikum Warahmatullah. First of all, belated Eid Mubarak. I say in America we can celebrate Eid for about a month because we don't get to see each other. So Eid Mubarak, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us our fasting, our prayers, our dua, all of our good deeds during the month of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those whom He promised to be protected and safeguarded from the torment and the suffering of hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who witness the next Ramadan, inshallah, and give us the ability to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seek His forgiveness until the next Ramadan and throughout the next Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the next Eid opportunity and occasion an occasion that allows the Ummah to celebrate on all fronts, not just for Eid, but inshallah an Eid that brings with it success, victory, unity, ease, comfort for the Ummah everywhere we're struggling and everywhere we're suffering. And when the occasion of Eid comes, always there's a contrast that we draw about two things. Usually it's about Ramadan. What happened? What did we do? Did we pass the test of Ramadan? And usually it's to compare about the celebration of Eid. I'll talk quickly about both, inshallah. And they're both related in a sense. Ramadan was a month, alhamdulillah, that Allah gave us the chance to reconnect with Him spiritually, deeper, to work on ourselves. And we need to work on ourselves, all of us, continuously, maintenance. So it was a chance to do the month-long, alhamdulillah ta'ala, cleansing of our soul, of our behavior, of all things that displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once we're done with Ramadan, we always question, can I continue after Ramadan? The reality is you cannot. You cannot do what you did in Ramadan throughout the year. Otherwise, that wouldn't be Ramadan. But you can try as much to maintain of what you did in Ramadan. Why do I say that? Because when you set a goal that is too high and you never reach, you end up giving up everything. Ramadan is unique. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted it to be a month of ibadah, month of extra effort, month of sacrifices. You're abstaining from things that are completely halal for you. Food and drink and relations with your spouse. Allah didn't say it's for you to do that throughout the year, except for the nawafil days when you fast, Mondays, Thursdays, middle of the month. But other than that, Allah wanted you to enjoy these things that are halal to begin with, but in Ramadan you're learning to give them up to build your strength, spiritual and otherwise. So don't think, if I cannot reach all the height that I reach in Ramadan, then I better not do anything. No. What you need to do is keep the good habits you develop during Ramadan and see how much you can keep of them. Honesty, forgiveness, mercy, coming to the masjid, not being too dependent on food. Food is important, necessity to live, but alhamdulillah, you prove to yourself that you can survive on little, alhamdulillah. So making sure we continue with that is a great way. Ramadan is a month of forgiveness, month of mercy. It's a month of jihad, month of action, striving for what is good, internally and externally. Keep that. These things, once you develop, you have to keep. Different levels, different causes, but it doesn't change. And despite how much sadness that exists out there in our community, in our ummah, around the world, Eid is a time to celebrate. Post-Ramadan is a time to celebrate the hard work you did. We ask Allah to accept and to recommit to that mercy and forgiveness of the month of Ramadan. Wallahi, the situation around the world it breaks the heart, least to say. If you just check on the newspaper, you go online and put any news, you will see. I'll tell you what you will see. If you just look at the news today or yesterday or tomorrow, you're going to read one of these items. You're going to read about Muslims in China, Uyghur Muslims, where 1 million Muslims are taken away from their homes, placed in concentration camps over the last few months. 1 million, think about that. 1 million Muslims are in concentration camps as we speak today, taken by the Chinese government. To do what for them? To do re-education, as the Chinese government is talking about. Forcing them to renounce their religion. In the month of Ramadan, they were forced to eat pork in these camps, forced to drink alcohol. They were forced to insult the Prophet ﷺ, as many witnesses have said, those who made it out, according to all the human rights organizations. We're looking at what is happening in Burma, where over 600,000 Muslims, to be exact, 640,000 Muslims, the whole population, Rohingyas, were forced out of their homes, ethnically, religiously cleansed from Myanmar or Burma. SubhanAllah. A whole population, as is, through fear, through death, rape, burning of children alive. This is the reality we're dealing with. Almost 1 million people in Syria were killed, 600,000, by least to say one of the most barbaric regimes that exist in the world. The whole world is watching, so this is not secret news. People are watching this. Women raped, women leaving prisons now with babies from the rape that they endured in Syria today. Watch what is happening and what has been happening in Palestine, especially in Gaza over the last few months, where Israeli soldiers have it as a pleasure hobby, shooting with snipers at Palestinians who are peacefully protesting for their right to be back in their homes. No weapons, no guns, just protesting the ongoing occupation. The fact that they're not even allowed to go back to their homes because of the Israeli occupation. And Israeli soldiers shooting at them with explosive bullets. A bullet that if it hits you in the leg, your leg is gone. Drops, because it explodes. If it hits you anywhere else, you're dead. This is what the Israelis are doing. And of course, our president in the White House shamelessly, immorally defend the right of the Israelis to do that. This is what we're watching. In Kashmir, ongoing, again, since the 40s, ongoing in Kashmir, the occupation, the humiliation. Just a few months ago, a little young girl, 6-year-old girl, was gang raped by Hindu nationalist extremists and murdered at the end. Asifa, little Asifa. And when they were arrested them, why did you do that? Including somebody who's supposed to be a man of priesthood level with the Hindu nationalists. He said to scare the Muslims there so they can leave. This is their goal. SubhanAllah. And I'm not even talking about how the Indian occupation forces continues to shoot at Kashmiri protesters who are peacefully protesting, by the way, specifically shooting at them in the eyes. In the eyes. This is documented by various human rights organizations. So what I'm talking about is, it's a miserable situation out there. We need to be aware. It's not about depressing you, but it's about knowing what is happening. And I can tell you, had these people not been Muslims, we would be reading and watching and hearing about it at the UN Security Council, we'll be hearing about it on TV. But the fact is, the life of a Muslim has been so cheapened now, unfortunately, by so-called Muslim leaders themselves, who end up using the weapons and the armies that they have against their own people or against their neighboring Muslims, let alone by foreign powers. This is what we're dealing with internationally. What we're dealing with locally is shamefully, equally frustrating. We have a president and an administration that has continuously engaged in promoting racism, promoting bigotry, hiring people into the administration who are openly white supremacists, openly normalizing racism in our country, about blacks, against women, against Asian Americans, against Latinos, against Muslims. This is the administration, this is the president who talked about building a wall to keep these rapists, as he called them. When he talks about migrant people coming to America, he says infested, they're infesting our country, as if there's some rats or disease. This is the language of the Nazis. This is exactly how Hitler talked about his enemies, to justify the Holocaust and genocide and murders later on. When he talked about Muslims, he said complete shutdown of Muslims coming to America. Talked about the Muslim ban, right? And now we're watching the most recent chapter in his ongoing inhumanity. A couple months ago, the Trump administration instituted a new policy, calling it zero tolerance in terms of what he described as illegal immigration, targeting people who come through the US-Mexico border, people coming to America to seek asylum, running and escaping war or escaping gang threats, security threats to their lives, coming to America to seek safety and protection for themselves and their children. By law, you cannot seek asylum, by the way, from another country. You have to be here to seek that asylum. But what do we do instead of treating them as refugees who deserve our support, our protection, the way civilized countries do? He decided that he will basically intimidate people from coming to our country to seek asylum. He thought about a diabolic, devilish, satanic idea. How do we keep people from coming to our country to seek asylum? Something that, wallahi, I doubt even Shaitan himself will think about. Basically, he said, when they arrive at our border, we're going to snatch their children from them and put them in cages by themselves. This is exactly his idea. Kids that are 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, taking them from the border, placing them in cages, literally cages, chicken cages, zoo cages, and keeping them away from their family. Now, what is the purpose of that? So we can discourage and deter other asylum seekers from coming to our country. This is being done in your name and my name. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, you as Muslims, we are Muslims, we are described by the message of Muhammad. Muhammad was chosen to do what? What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? What was the purpose of sending him to mankind? What did Allah say to him? وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I have not sent you, O Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, except as mercy to mankind. This is, and if you and I are followers of Muhammad, inshallah, we will always be followers of Muhammad to mankind. That means when we see anyone pushing for something that is not merciful, something against mercy, something lacking compassion, something pushing in humanity, we should be the first voices. This is not about us saying these kids were Muslim or not. Wallah, who cares? For the most part, by the way, they are not. in case you're wondering. But who cares? These are children, vulnerable, in need of support. Our Prophet ﷺ and the early Sahabas were refugees, political refugees. They were fleeing political persecution in Mecca, went to Medina, Yathrib at that time, and they were welcomed by the people of Yathrib as political refugees. They were there, embraced, given rights. Nobody told them you're second-class citizens. We're going to separate your children from you to teach you a lesson. And the same thing when people came to the Muslims, the same thing they did. We look at the early history of all the prophets. SubhanAllah, every prophet was either a migrant or a refugee. Musa alayhi salam was a political refugee for a short time. Sayyidina Ibrahim before that was a migrant person. Isa alayhi, all of them, they traveled fleeing persecution, seeking safety somewhere. And they taught us that this is how we treat each other, subhanAllah. And we have a shameless president and an administration with our Attorney General and others quoting supposedly scripture to justify the injustice that they're doing. When even though we as Muslims know that scripture better than them, where the scripture says what Islam says. Welcome your neighbor, embrace your neighbor, subhanAllah. This is the same people who their ancestors quoted the scripture to justify slavery, to justify the Holocaust, to justify colonialism. Again, twisting of religion for their own good. But this is the time for our community to stand up for what is right. We know as Muslims the reminder from the Prophet ﷺ, who said, مَنْ رَأَى مِنْكُمْ مُنْكَرًا فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ وَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever amongst you witnesses injustice, let him or her change it with his hand. What does that mean? As our scholars have explained again and again, with your hand meaning you get active, you engage, you join the groups, the protest, whatever it is, you are part of that activism. This is not something that you say, I'm watching on the news, I'm going to make dua. This is not your first option. Your first option, you are part of that movement that is challenging this complete barbarism that is happening today in our name, using our tax money. By the way, when this DHS, Department of Homeland Security, employee snatches that child, that 4-year-old child, and places him or her in a cage, we all heard the cries, and if you haven't, go search it. See the cries, listen to the cries of these babies and these kids. When they snatch them, who is paying the salary for that officer? Who is paying that salary? All of us. So don't say it's not my business. You are responsible until you go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, oh Allah, here's the evidence that I'm not responsible. Here's how I challenge that injustice. Otherwise, by being neutral, you are responsible. Because your tax money, my tax money, is used to create this inhumanity. And this is not about Republican or Democrats. This is really not about, are you liberal or conservative? This is not even about immigration anymore. This is not about national security. This is about mercy. This is about humanity. This is about what we stand for as a nation. What are our values? What do we become as Americans? What does our country become as America? We claim to be leading the world in civilization, in human rights. We lose that ability, that credibility. Not that this is the only infraction we do. The list goes on and on of the things that we have committed as a nation. But here's an opportunity for us to say enough is enough, and not in our name. So the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever witnesses falsehood or injustice, let him or her change it with their hand, be active in changing it. And then he said, if you cannot, maybe you're out of the country on that day, maybe you have some very unique circumstances that prevent you from being able to do that. Then he said, then change it with your tongue. Speak against it. This tongue extends now with social media, it could be your post also. Speak against it. Post against it. Organize against it. Do whatever you can to let people know that you stand up against it. And then he said, if you cannot, for some reason that I cannot think of anyone who can apply to that excuse. But he said, if there is some reason you cannot, then at least hate it in your heart. What does that mean? Don't let it become normal. Don't normalize injustice in front of you. Whether it's domestically or global. This is domestic because it's under our nose. But the same rule applies everywhere. Whether it's in Syria, or in Palestine, or in Kashmir, or in Egypt, or in Libya, or in Yemen, or in Kashmir, or in Burma, or in China, or everywhere else. And this community, of more than any other community, knows what it means to be oppressed. Especially our dear brothers and sisters from the Chan community. You know what it means to be oppressed. You had to flee for your life and the life of your children from a similar oppression. Immigrants who come from the Middle East, you know what that oppression means. Palestinians, you know that oppression. Syrians, you know that oppression. All the Middle East, mashallah, we're equal in the misery. Alhamdulillah. People who are immigrants, we know what it means. Those who have traveled, you know. So we should be more empathetic. Join the efforts that will help send the message. At least begin by contacting our elected officials. Let them know that this is not acceptable. When you hear about a protest, join that protest. When you hear about a chance to support organizations working for refugees' rights, immigrants' rights, wallah, even $5, $10 you can make, you will help them. And there are many. If you need lists, I'll share with you lists. And help support our institutions that will build our power as a Muslim community. Support your masjid, always. This is where we hear and learn. Where else can we sit down and talk about these issues? It started at the masjid. Imagine if we didn't have a masjid, we wouldn't be that informed. Alhamdulillah, all of you are very informed. But this or other issues, support your masajid generously. Support our civil rights organizations, political organizations, such as CARE, where we build that power. My dear brothers and sisters, I want to conclude by reminding ourselves, when I hear from Muslims, when I sit and Eid and Ramadan, I had the chance to visit many communities. And the number one issue that I hear from communities is dwelling on the past. Wallahi, it's miserable, ya akhi. Subhanallah, tough times for Muslims. If we only had an Abu Bakr, can you imagine if we had Umar ibn al-Khattab now, subhanallah, what we did? May Allah be pleased with him. Oh, if that's someone like Ali bin Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him. Imagine if we had someone like Salah ad-Din. What would Salah ad-Din do? Would help liberate Jerusalem and end the suffering of our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Or nowadays we add Orthodox. Oh, if we had Orthodox now, think what we'll do. The Ummah would unite. Wallah, I'll tell you something, my dear brothers and sisters. Maybe you, alhamdulillah, all of you are good. But I can tell you, if Allah sends Salah ad-Din with us now, we'll be the first ones to lynch him. We'll call him a radical. We'll probably call him a terrorist. We'll call him somebody who's crazy, undermining stability, undermining these criminal regimes that exist around the Muslim majority countries. We'll be the first ones. We'll be the first ones. Because we're used to the corruption that exists today. So my solution is, instead of waiting that Allah will send us somebody from the heavens, be that one. And if you cannot be that one, work on raising that new generation that will be that one. Make sure your children, one of them is going to be the next Salah ad-Din, or the next Aisha, or the next. Work on them. And if you don't have children, or you think your children might not be the ones, work on the children of the community. Support our schools. Let's develop our new leader who will unite the Ummah and turn this Ummah into what it used to be and what it's supposed to be. A force for justice. A force on the side of the oppressed. Someone who needs help, they knew that they can count on Muslims. Whether they're Muslims or not, they knew they can count on the Muslims. If you're being mistreated at the airport, at the border, in cages, in prisons, they knew they can count on the Muslims. Be that Ummah, again, that Muhammad prided himself with being its leader, its teacher. This is how we change, my dear brothers and sisters. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who realize the big challenges and the big opportunities around us and above us. Islam is not just another thing for us. Islam is about changing ourselves as we saw in Ramadan, but also changing our societies, changing our world. And everyone has a role. Don't ever think, I don't have a role to play. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us realize the huge responsibility upon our shoulders. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us realize that on the day of judgment, He will ask us about our time, about our knowledge, about our opportunities, whether we took advantage of them or not. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فيا فوز المستغفرين. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Inshallah, my dear brothers and sisters, a quick reminder, since we're still in the mood of Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ reminded us about the importance of fasting the 6 days of Shawwal after Ramadan. So it's a reminder for me, which I haven't done any of those days yet. Inshallah, maybe we'll start doing them before the Shawwal passes and we lose. عن أبي أيوب الأنصاري رضي الله عنه وارضاه أنه سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: من صام رمضان ثم تبعه 6 من شوال كان كصيام الدهر. He said, whoever fasts the month of Ramadan and then follows that with 6 days of Shawwal, they don't have to be consecutive, but any 6 days of Shawwal, it is like he or she has fasted the whole entire month, a year. So don't miss out on this opportunity. So it's a reminder for me and for you that we take advantage every Monday, Thursday. We still have time. If you don't want to do it, do 6 days in a row. We're still in the mood. Our stomach are still shrunk before they go back to the regular size. Take advantage of that. عباد الله إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد كما صليت وسلمت وباركت على سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معصيتك، ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك، ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا. اللهم متعنا بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقواتنا وذرياتنا أبدا ما أحييتنا، واجعله الوارث منا واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا. اللهم لا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك فينا ولا يرحمنا. اللهم نسألك أن ترفع البلاء عن إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم كن مع إخواننا المظلومين الجائعين المستضعفين المهجرين اللاجئين في كل مكان. اللهم نخص بالذكر إخواننا في سوريا. اللهم كن معهم وارفع عنهم البلاء يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم كن مع إخواننا في سوريا ومع إخواننا في فلسطين وفي اليمن وفي ليبيا وفي مصر. اللهم كن مع إخواننا في كل مكان. اللهم كن معهم في كشمير، اللهم كن معهم في فلسطين، اللهم كن معهم في العراق، اللهم كن معهم في بورما، اللهم كن معهم في الصين، اللهم كن معهم في روسيا، اللهم كن مع كل مظلوم في أمريكا وفي كل مكان في العالم. اللهم أنك خير معين ونصير. اللهم اجعلنا للمستضعفين نصيرا يا الله. اللهم اجعلنا نصراء للمستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم وحد صفوف المسلمين وألف بين قلوبهم. اللهم أيدهم بنصرك يا أكرم الأكرمين. اللهم تقبل شهداءهم. اللهم وعاف مرضاهم ورد أسراهم. اللهم إنك على ذلك قدير، إنك على ذلك قدير، إنك على ذلك قدير. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. وأقم الصلاة.